I would say the choice of J.D. Vance as his running mate flies in the face of a lot of typical decision-making that goes into what running mate might be chosen. Typically, in the past, a running mate brings something to the ticket. Either the running mate balances the ticket, like if the one guy is super radical, the running mate oftentimes can be seen as a balancing force, more moderate, okay? Far more typical is that the running mate adds a state to the ticket that would be now winnable for the ticket. You don't have that in Trump because Trump's going to win Ohio anyway. So what he did was something quite interesting, I think. He went for a guy, this is very on brand for Trump, who is great on TV. J.D. Vance, and I've told you this, he is a great spokesperson for whatever he's talking about. Sadly, he will talk about anything and completely reinvent himself and speak passionately and emotionally and articulately about any number of things because he's not underpinned by any kind of strong philosophy that would prevent him from, as I say, changing positions. Witness what has happened with Trump. He was a rabid anti-Trump guy, and now he's on the ticket with Trump. I'll play you some clips right now, but what I really feel, and I don't want this to be lost, is more important, is his insanely intense, radical right-wing views. His view of America, if you're a woman, is a bleak one. You will have no reproductive freedoms whatsoever, no exceptions for abortion. There is, and he said this, you can Google it. He talks about childless people. Childless Americans have no stake in America. They're a problem in America, people without children. This, as he actually campaigns against IVF. You're telling me how important children are and families are, and now you won't let so many couples who want to have a family have access to IVF? That is a J.D. Vance position. Look it up. As to the change he made from anti-Trumper to Trumper and now vice presidential candidate, take a look at this mashup that MS did. I thought it was pretty good. So here's a little bit from them.
But as a running mate for Donald Trump, it is unavoidable to note that his record of remarks about Trump is one that I think could reasonably be described as rich. Maybe that's the word, rich.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
It makes you think that at a fundamental level, this is sort of a he said, she said, right? And at the end of the day, do you believe Donald Trump, who always tells the truth? Just kidding. Or do you believe that woman on that tape?
No, I cannot stand Trump because I think he's a fraud. Well, I think he's a total fraud that is exploiting these people, who is a total fraud.
Like I said, I agree with you on Trump because I don't think that he's the person. I don't think he actually cares about folks.
So as a conservative who thinks that Trump does not have the answers and isn't qualified to be president, what are you going to do this election, if you don't mind saying?
My current plan is to vote either third party or, as I joke to my wife, I might write in my dog because that's about as good as it seems. But, you know, I think there's a chance, if I feel like Trump has a really good chance of winning, that I might have to hold my nose and vote for Hillary Clinton. Ultimately, I think I'll probably vote third party. I might vote for this new guy who I really like, Evan McMullin, who I actually met the other day. But I think that I'm going to vote for. I'm going to vote third party because I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
Donald Trump's new running mate. I will vote for my dog over him. I will vote for a guy I just met, Evan McMullin, or Hillary Clinton, or some other third-party entity I can't even name. I will not vote for him because he is noxious and he is leading us in this country to a very dark place.
Yeah, there you go. So thank you for that. And thank you, MS, for putting that together. That is basically an audio and video version of what we've talked about on this show and who J.D. Vance is. I mentioned to you just a moment ago, and I think it's so worth mentioning, the notion that J.D. Vance blames America's woes in part on the childless left. You know, everybody on the left who has no children, even as he campaigned against IVF, but he'll attach names to that. So Vice President Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg he named, even though Pete Buttigieg and his husband have kids. Yeah. Senator Cory Booker, AOC.
Whose business is it whether a person has children or not? It's their own personal reproductive choice. Whose business? Not the government's business.
There are no more personal reproductive choices in the new America.
Aren't we overpopulated? Like, didn't they say don't have kids? Now they're saying do have kids? I mean, it'll leave your head spinning. Are you supposed to, take care of the planet and not populate it with people who are going to suck up resources at one moment and at the next moment pump out as many kids as you can?
So this is a Trumpian move to essentially double down on these extreme positions. As I was just saying before, oftentimes a vice presidential candidate is taken for balancing the ticket or for political expediency, meaning you'll pick up a state or at least you'll have a shot at winning a state that you might not have a shot at otherwise. In this case, I think it reflects, and I want to talk to David K. Johnston about this too, and maybe Pat. I think it reflects Donald Trump feeling pretty comfy where he is. He is so far ahead of Joe Biden, and you can still call it a toss-up, but in the swing states, he's running ahead of Biden. And there doesn't seem to be a lot that's changing that. Now, again, something can happen at the 11th hour. There could be the October surprise, whatever it might be. But right now, it would seem that Trump is comfy. And so instead of picking a running mate that reflects some of those things I was talking about, he reflects a doubling down, to use the overused phrase, a redoubling of the message, which is a real stark one. It's a real intense one. It's an us versus them. And J.D. Vance is even more extreme than Donald Trump. So he has put someone on the ticket that is really firing on all pistons when it comes to appealing to the base. And we'll see. Maybe it'll work. It will definitely take this group of people, significant in number, that supports Donald Trump, and it will animate them in all the ways that we were talking about yesterday, Kim. The shooting animates them. It gets them off of the couch. So I'll talk more about J.D. Vance and policy and economic policy, but the last thing I'll say about J.D. Vance, and this maybe is really important, if you care about who actually is vice president, he is utterly unfit to be vice president from the standpoint of experience. He is, I mean, you could take the 15th caller at KGO in the old days, and they would be arguably as experienced as J.D. Vance. Now, great writer, Hillbilly Elegy, great book, great story, Appalachian origins, went on to Harvard, and, this guy who really...
Yale.
Yale, I knew it was one of the two. One story to tell after another that really resonates, from humble roots. Mm-hmm. But what has he done? Nothing. He's gotten into the Senate, and he can't get anything done. He doesn't try to get anything done. He's out there on Fox News Channel, and he's out there essentially on different platforms articulating well this kind of right-wing dogma. But apart from that, J.D. Vance couldn't find the men's room at the White House. And so he's going to be president? I don't know.
I think that'll be very interesting if there's a vice presidential debate. I think Kamala Harris is going to clean up.
I know that that's the conventional wisdom, but I will tell you that J.D. Vance is good. And J.D. Vance, and that's one of the reasons he's there. He's very good on television. And I don't think I've seen this. Oh, Kamala Harris is going to mop the floor with him. I don't think so. I don't know that he'll win. And I know that this debate or the showdown is kind of much anticipated. It's kind of our new hobby in America, is sort of imagining these various showdowns. But the reality is, I think J.D. Vance is strong, and he's not going to take a standing 8 count. He's going to go down swinging. So maybe Kamala wins, but she's certainly far more competent than is J.D. Vance. And when it comes to actually sitting in the Oval Office and making decisions, I think Kamala Harris is much more even-tempered, much more even-handed, and just more of a student of the office than is J.D. Vance.
We should make a bet. Not a bet for money, but like a bet where one of us has to issue the best apology ever. So if Kamala wins, you have to apologize, and if Vance wins it or somehow comes away the victor in that debate, then I'll have to apologize.
Yeah, I mean, happy. You know
something.
me. I
Come
don't.
up with
I don't.
some type of
I don't shy from any bet. So anything you want to, anything you want to put together.
I'm sorry.
I'm totally on it. But I want to be clear, because you oftentimes do this, Kim. Sadly, you take my words and you somehow twist them.
Oh,
I
no,
just
it's
said
all on tape. It's all on tape.
I know, and so maybe you'll go back and look at the tape. I just said, now she may win the debate, but the idea somehow that she's going to mop the floor with him, no way. J.D. Vance, no one will mop the floor with him. He's too good, and he's too smart, and he's too gifted when it comes to media. That's one of the reasons he's there. But back to the bet, I'm very happy to make a wager of any kind on anything. Will Kim, Mr. Predicto, will Kim make an actual wager about the vice presidential debate? Let's ask Mr. Predicto. Mr. Predicto, please.
Everything points to no.
No,
What?
I didn't think so, Kim. You're all show and no go. Mr.
I
Predicto
was
says you're not going to
ready
make it.
to lay it down.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I think you should apologize already. I think
I misspoke.
Yeah, I think you maybe want to get apology started. Load up that apology. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.